Bozo. Number 4, I'd like to say the Three Stooges of the media and Champ, which is Joe Rogan. Well, to be fair to Joe Rogan, the plain and simple fact is he comes out and has stated on his show in the past that he's a nobody. He knows nothing. He doesn't have any background or education or anything else. Well, this is true. He's a high school graduate. He's a stand-up comic. And that's about it. He's really never done anything else. He has apparently a huge interest in martial arts, but has not pursued that professionally in any way whatsoever. He made his money through stand-up comic and getting a few shows here and there, which made him quite wealthy, I'm assuming, or at least well off. The problem with him is his show has skyrocketed on YouTube to be very popular, and he brings on everybody. But, then he's done a few things, and he did a show, some sort of show about, the unexplained and other things written by prejudiced writers, and he then hosted the show. He didn't do any research. None of these people do research. He's a talking head. They slap him in front of the cameras. A producer comes up and tells him this or gives him something to read, and he assumes that this research is 100% proper and right. So he thinks he knows everything now, from Bigfoot to time travel to aliens. He thinks he knows everything from very surface to no research. Again, he's a self-appointed expert. I doubt he's reading all that much. He has a lot of guests on. Many times he's very inappropriate and acts like the big smart aleck that knows everything. Or I should say knows everything he's been told to know by a bunch of alleged Illuminati-controlled media coming up with the same old opinions of things. And when people come up with opinions that disagree with him, well, of course, this is a problem. And, of course, he's now come to the fact that he really thinks he's a special genius, just like Penn Jillette and other people who think they know everything when he's a high school dropout. He's a clown college graduate. I mean, this guy is unbelievable in his stupidity of how he judges information. Most people that I notice from comments on YouTube pretty much have his number now. He's pretty much of a sellout. He's been bought off, threatened, whatever it may be, because he's coming up with the same company line all the time. And he doesn't give credit to anybody else. He thinks he knows something because he did a 20-episode alternative view of all these different aspects and how that's just really an industry. UFOs and aliens are industries. Well, everything's an industry. That doesn't necessarily give it no credibility. People want to hear about these things other than the same old crappy it doesn't exist documentary shows that we've had for the last 20 years. People are interested in theoretical science and, ancient aliens, which is probably one of the worst of these type of shows, but they do come out and say that this is a questionable thought, that this could be possible. And why shouldn't be? Shouldn't you make the judgment of whether these things are real or not? Shouldn't it come from you and not from someone else? Shouldn't it come through your judgment? So he thinks he knows everything, and he gets everybody on there and has really poor information. And like everybody who's busy and does shows and who's traveling around the country, he doesn't really have time to read or research. So he's dependent upon other people to read and research, and these people have different levels of skill and prejudices. So they come out with that. The point is that, yes, there is an interest in extraterrestrials, alternative everything, and shows are out there to produce that. And they're going to come out with positive, insightful shows that don't agree with the no-no, negative, goo-goo science that is commonly out there. And because of this, it's all fraudulent per Joe Rogan. Well, what's fraudulent, Joe, is you're fraudulent. You are not educated. You're not well-read. You have no business making most comments about anything. But, of course, you have said this, but you do push your opinions on a lot of people. You're a very aggressive, typical martial arts kind of guy who thinks he can beat up everybody. I guess you've never looked down the barrel of a .45, but that is something for other discussion. But the point is that he has pushed his attitude on people, and he comes up with a whole bunch of conclusions that don't make much sense. But you can tell from his questions, the way the people he has on there, that this guy is not a great thinker. He'll go to someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, which he believes is the smartest man in the world. I doubt he knows what he has a degree in. Does he know that Tyson has a degree in astrophysics? Does he even know what astrophysics? Something to do with the planets? Yeah, Joe, could I punch something? Well, Joe, you can't punch something. What is astrophysics? Well, you don't know, and you think he knows everything because he has a degree in something? Well, I think that my car repairman, who knows Toyotas, is an expert in that field. I don't ask him about how to repair a Volkswagen. He don't know about that. He's not an expert. Well, he's a car repair guy. He knows everything. He's a genius. So he says the smartest man in the world, per him, is Neil deGrasse Tyson because he speaks about bogus scientific stuff that Joe Rogan wouldn't even know how to spell. We all know that, Joe. We all know you're limited. And to get on the team of such bogus people like that, and I'm sure you think that Elon Musk is another genius boy with his electric car technology. Yeah, the cavemen used that, I think. So the whole idea is that, people like you create a disservice, Shemp, because that's what you are. You're the side guy, the guy they bring in to assist the Three Stooges when they need a little bit of help. And that's really what you are, Joe. You're nothing but Shemp. You know nothing. You don't know no reading. You're a self-appointed expert. You get information from producers and people that have quasi-educations who come up with information based on their own personal prejudice that go to so-called sources that know something like Tyson and totally buy into it because nobody ever lies to you. Nobody is corrupt. The government always tells you the truth, and science has solved all our problems. We have free energy. We're living to be 500 years now. Thank you, science. Tell me, Tyson, what is the cure for cancer? After all, you're a scientist. You're the smartest man in the world. Funny you don't know that, just like you don't even know that Pluto is a planet. I'm afraid it is, Bozo man, and that's your only claim to fame. Really sad. You're nothing more than a talking head commentator that doesn't really support anything but wine venues and quasi-sexual harassment claims against you. So, you too, Joe, this is the kind of people that you idolize. This is how you give people credit in your media, to follow people like this, to get caught up in the web of deception and lies, giving them your false credibility. And it is false. You're a high school graduate, stand-up comic who liked to punch things. Nothing more and nothing less. To give you any credibility in the fact that your show is popular because you're the, quote, average man is sad, because your average man mentality has been lost in your huge bank account and the political pressure put upon you that, as most martial arts and tough guys they crumble like a potato chip the minute there's any pressure put on them. They never fight because they're in martial arts, because basically they're people that ain't got too many balls. Most of the people in martial arts are cowards. So that's the way it works. And of course, you're continuing this kind of philosophy, Joe Rogan, and you are another person who has absolutely no educational background. And as such, how can you even judge if someone is intelligent or not when you don't really know anything about the subject matter whatsoever, their education or anything else? The fact that this guy studied astrophysics means absolutely nothing in the bigger picture other than that specialty. Already his one claim to fame has been discredited. Yet you continue to babble your mouth. You have diarrhea mouth syndrome to support people like this and criticize other people that come out that have 10 times the research that this guy and have just as much value as anyone else, and we all need to hear their opinions, not yours, not your limited understanding and the 20 episodes of some goofball reality show you did investigating stuff from a very prejudiced viewpoint. What do you know? What do your producers know? Nothing. You're following the company line, you're being paid, and it's as simple as that, like all the rest of it. You should be appalled at the kind of level you've fallen down to instead of going out and supporting the common man, the average person out there, to seek out and find truth outside of the corrupt system of education and industrial military complex that runs this world. You should be ashamed.